sold the team. But anyway, this is Richie Hebner, 42 years of professional baseball.
Boy, spending that many times in many years in the big leagues, you'd think I would have come up here on a wheelchair. Fran, stand up again, Fran.
Are you paying me?
I'm not that easy, Fran. But everybody needs a Fran in every town. And what I heard about you tonight, and I've never met you, nice going, congratulations. I'll give you a little background on myself. I was signed out of Norwood High School in 1966. I was the #1 draft pick of the Pittsburgh Pirates, which was the 15th overall pick in the country that year. And I didn't know what the hell that was. But back then, #1 draft pick, I got $40,000 to sign, which was pretty good money back in 1966. Now these guys sign $3 million, $4 million #1 draft picks. So back then, I went on, I played 2 years in the minor leagues. I played in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the manager was Joe Morgan, who managed the Red Sox. 1968, I played in Columbus, Ohio, and the manager, Johnny Pesky. That was his last year he ever managed. And then at the end of the year in 1968, I got called up to the big leagues. And all of a sudden I walk in the old ballpark in Forbes Field, and that was a dungeon. And I'm sitting there, I'm 20 years old, 3 years out of high school. I look around at Clemente, Stagio, Bill Mazeroski, Gene Alley, some of the old guys around here would know the names. And I'm going, what the hell am I doing here? I said, this is another world I'm in. And then I played 10 years with the Pirates. I went on to play with the Phillies for 2 years. The Mets 1 year. Let me tell you about the Mets. I played with the Mets in 1979. We couldn't beat the Cooks at the Hilton Hotel. We were so bad. Joe Torre was the manager. Joe was funny. Joe was a good guy to play for. You know, Joe would get up and say, let's win 2 games a week, guys. Let's win Monday, Tuesday, get it over with. We had a mascot in New York when I played there. If anybody remembers, we had a jackass. He used to walk around the field. There was a guy following him. I thought I was in a circus. And actually, that club was a circus. We lost 99 games. We didn't draw 1 million people in New York, which is amazing. And we won the last 8 games of the year. We could not lose 100 games. And I never forget, we won in the last game of the year. We won in St. Louis. We're flying back to JFK in New York, and Joe Torre with his big cigar stands up and says, Jesus Christ, now you guys get hot. Everybody hear that? No? Anyway, I'll give you, then I went on to play with the Tigers for 3 years. And that was fun playing for Sparky Anderson. I'll never forget, I was out carving pumpkins with my 2 young daughters back in 1980, I mean. And my wife picks up the phone and said, some guy, Sparky's on the phone. I don't know who the hell Sparky is. And I picked it up and he said, welcome to Detroit. And that's how we went over to Detroit for 3 years. He was a character to play for. Sparky was a nice gentleman. He just passed away I believe in August. And then from Detroit, I went to play for the Chicago Cubs, my last 2 years in the big leagues. And that was a fun town to play in. I played in that '84 team that won the playoffs. And it was funny, you know, when I was with the Tigers, I got traded to the Chicago Cubs. And I said, oh boy, what a way to end my career. The Cubs haven't won since Abraham Lincoln was in the White House. And I go over there, you remember 1984, some of the old guys around here, we got in the playoffs and won. And that was the last year of the 3 out of 5 playoffs. We won the first 2 games against San Diego and lost the next 3, which is unfortunate. But I got a funny story. You know, I have a lot in common with Ted Williams. A lot of people around here going, what the hell is this guy talking about? But Ted Williams hit a home run his last time in the big leagues, and I hit a home run my last time in the big leagues. But there's one thing different. Ted knew that was his last game. I get released the next spring. But anyway, I got a lot of stories to tell you. And probably the best thing to do is anybody got any questions and answer. You know, you bring something up, I will have a story for you. I was a player with the Pirates in 1974. Got rained out of the Astrodome. Can you imagine getting rained out of the Astrodome? It started raining about 10 o'clock in the morning. I have never seen it rain so hard in my life. The water was this high in Houston, Texas, and no one could get to the ballpark. The players from Houston couldn't get there. And there was, I never forget, two people went to the ball game, and they must have obviously lived close to the Astrodome. And the Houston people gave them both season tickets for the next year, which was a nice gesture. I've been in 12 no-hitters, 6 good ones, 6 bad ones. My first hit in the big leagues, I was afraid to get the ball. And people were going, why? My first hit in the big leagues was off of Bob Gibson. If anybody knows Bob Gibson, he was the toughest guy I've ever faced in my life, and one of the meanest guys I've ever faced in my life. I was actually afraid to get the ball, because I thought he'd drill me the next time up, break my eardrum. That's the way he was. He was a nasty competitor, but you look back in 1968, his ERA, I think, was under 2, and that is amazing. Guys, you know, guys that have ERAs now 4 or 5 are making $12 million. Now I'm going to ask you, my first year in the big leagues, 1969. Now the minimum in the big leagues now is $420,000 if you got a pulse, you got color in your face, and you're breathing. My first year in the big leagues, 1969. Can anybody guess what the minimum was?
$100,000.
$100,000? $10,000.
Wow.
I cashed my check at a 7-Eleven, got a 6-pack. I didn't know what a bank was until my first 6 years in the big leagues. Probably around my 6th, 7th year in the big leagues, I actually had to go to a bank. I was coaching the Red Sox. I coached for the Red Sox 89, 90, 91 with Joe Morgan. And I'll never forget, I went into the ballpark early to get baseballs because we were going on a West Coast trip. I had to pack some baseballs for the road trip. And Clemens dropped his check in front of me. I'll never forget this. And I said, Roger, let me pick your check up. I'll give you mine. He said, I don't think so, Rich. If I saw a check now in the big leagues with all the zeros in it, I think I would pass out right now. The highest money I made was 1985. My last 2 years in the big leagues, 84, 85 with the Cubs. I made $330,000, which was a lot of money back in 1985. But that was the highest salary I made. The minimum now is $420,000 in the big leagues. That's a lot of moolah.
Did you go to the game today?
No, I didn't go to the game. Thank God they won. Because when I was at the Red Sox those 3 years, when you had a 3-game losing streak, it was nasty. This is probably the toughest town to manage a coach in all of baseball. That's including New York, Chicago, LA. Oh, LA's backwards. Those fans coming in the 3rd inning and leaving the 7th inning. But this is a tough town. This is probably the toughest town to manage in. Football, unfortunately, see, football wins. So when you win, you don't get you busted. Bruins are playing good. Celtics are playing good. The problem is everybody's spoiled around here. Everybody wins. There's no second place in Boston. When you come in second place, you get ripped. And when you travel with the Red Sox like I did, there's probably about 12 beat writers that travel with you. Cape Cod, Worcester, all over. And when you're playing bad, they know your wife's maiden name, your kid's middle name. It's never ending. I know when I was a hitting coach here for 3 years, when Wade Boggs went 0 for 3 days, you wouldn't have believed how they got on me. I said, I'm not up, Boggs is up, I'm not swinging a bat. But this is a tough town to coach in. It really, really is. And I know Francona pretty well, and he handles the press pretty good. Especially with a win today helped him. But this is tough. Like I said, this is a tough town to play in. I think the biggest thing with the Red Sox, and I know all you people are obviously Red Sox fans, and I told this to people in the winter, it boils down to pitching and defense. I don't care what sport you play, hockey, baseball, football. If you can't catch the ball and you can't pitch, you're going to be watching the playoffs on TV like you fans. And I think the biggest two question marks in this team is Beckett and Lackey. If they don't pitch well, I don't think this team's going to win. Simple as that. You got to catch the ball, especially in the big leagues. You give 4 innings in the big league, you're going to get your ass kicked every night. You might get away with it once in a while. Even in the minor leagues, even in the league here, you give 4 or 5 out innings here. I'm telling you, when that game ends, you're walking home with an L. In the big leagues, you got to catch the ball. A big league shortstop, to me, should make 15 errors. He makes over 15, 18 errors a year, you ain't gonna win. You got to catch the ball. I think it's a tough game. You know, I've talked to scouts in the past why the talent in the minor leagues is not as good as it used to be. And I don't know what it is in Revere, but it's big in Walpole. The sport is lacrosse. Everybody plays lacrosse now. And you know what I find out? Why they play lacrosse? And they're good athletes, don't get me wrong. But you pass the ball. They find out baseball, especially when you leave Little League, when you go to Babe Ruth, the bases get longer. That's a tough adjustment from Little League to Babe Ruth. But they find out it's you and the pitcher. I think baseball is the toughest sport to play. Football, you get some in a block. Hockey, you get some in a pass. Basketball, you get some in a pass. Tennis is one-on-one. But baseball, it's you and the pitcher. And a lot of kids nowadays don't like to fail. They'll tell their mother and father, I don't want to play this game. I'm getting embarrassed. I can't hit the ball. So where do they go? Scouts have told me lacrosse has taken so many kids away from baseball in this whole country. It's kind of sad. That's why you see a lot of Latin kids, a lot of Dominican kids, Puerto Rican kids are getting in the game of baseball. That's all they do down there. They play baseball. They play stickball. They play whatever they play. It's baseball. There's no lacrosse down there. So that's about my background. But I've lived in Walpole. Let me tell you, I got married. Let me tell you a little funny story. Does anybody know what November 4th, 1979 is? Can anybody know what that date, does that date ring a bell to anybody? Huh? I got married November 4th, 1979. That's when they took over the embassy. I was reminded every day I was married. Remember they had the thing in the Globe and the Herald, day 23, day 28? Then I got the 444, Reagan come in, and they let the horses go. That's when I told my wife I'm a free agent. It didn't go over big. November 4th, 1979. The toughest pitcher I ever faced was J.R. Richard. Anybody remember J.R. Richard? 6'8" to 100 miles an hour. When he wound up and threw, I smelled his breath. I knew what he ate that morning. This guy threw 100 miles an hour, had a breaking ball about 92. Didn't have to throw a changeup. Anybody got any questions?
I have.
Because I tell you, you bring something up, I'll have a story.
You had mentioned Wade Boggs
Excuse
earlier.
me?
I said you had mentioned Wade Boggs earlier. Did you have a relationship with him on the coaching side, or do you still keep in touch with him?
No,
I haven't
no.
heard his name in a long time.
No, I don't keep in touch with him, no.
Oh,
No.
I was just
He
curious.
lives in Florida, he's got a beautiful home in Tampa.
I got his autograph when I was a kid, playing
Good.
miniature golf.
Save it, might be worth something. I start thinking about up here. I've had 2 numbers retired in baseball. Imagine that 2 numbers retired. I had Wood number 20 when I was at the Pirates. Pie Trainer died. Pie Trainer lived in Somerville, Massachusetts. He got in the Hall of Fame in 1947. They didn't retire his number. The only team that likes to retire numbers are the Yankees. You got a rookie that comes up with the Yankees, he's got number 88. He's a tight end. But they finally retired his number. He dropped dead in 1972, and I had to give up number 20, and I went to number 3. I got traded to Detroit. My first day out of the clubhouse, I wore number 2. And a couple of writers come up here and says, "Geez, don't you feel funny?" I looked around and I says, "I don't know, what's the matter?" He said, "It's Charlie Garringer's number." That's what the clubhouse guy gave me. So I've had 2 numbers retired, but yet I gotta go to Cooperstown and still pay to get in.
Who's the toughest guy you ever had to coach?
The toughest guy I got ever coach?
Yeah.
There was a few. Anybody got a tape recorder in here?
Nope.
There's young kids in here, I can't say what I want to say. There's always assholes everywhere you go, believe me. The problem is, I've coached the last 15 years in the minor leagues. You know the number one thing I've found out in the last 15 years coaching the minor leagues? And you see, the parents see it too, I guarantee you do. Kids don't respect their elders.
No, they don't.
And I'm telling you, I've coached in A-ball, AA, and I've coached in AAA for 3 years. 10 years, the last 10 years I've coached in AAA. And let me tell you, all these kids have the answer. And I've always told these kids, have your ears open and your mouth shut, and you will go up the ladder and you maybe get to the big leagues. Not many kids will get to the big leagues. But to me, if you try, if you're polite, I can tell a kid when I'm in the minor leagues, just being around him for a day or 2, he's got some nice parents. But it is unbelievable how many times I've had a bite my lip the last 10 years when I was drilling some kid. Because if you hit some kid, you're fired. But some of these kids have all the answers. And as many years as I coached in the minor leagues and big leagues, I've learned every day something different about baseball. It's a great game. It really is a good game. It's a game where you got to get pitching, you got to get defense, you got to have base running, you got to hit the cutoff man, you got to take the extra base first to third. There's so many things you can win in this game. But I think a lot of people like to go to Fenway Park and see the ball over the green monster, the 10-9 game. I think the 2-1 games are the best games to watch. Good pitching, good defense, good base running, good fundamental baseball. Now watching the game the other night, when Veritek didn't take the runner. Everybody watch that? I couldn't believe it. Here's a guy who's been in the big leagues 14 years, so-called seeing his jersey. And I'm kind of ripping him in a way, but still, you guys in this league here, you got to test the runner coming home. It was a forced play at third, and that would have been a big double play in that game.
You really should have yelled to him.
Huh?
You really should have yelled to him. He's not forced. Right?
You don't have to yell to him. This guy's been playing a lot of years. But yet I listened to, it is Little League, but yet I listened to the announcers thinking Veritek, the runner was in Veritek's way. Everybody protects everybody in this game. No one wants to rip anybody. I'm from the old school, and I'm telling you, I tell it like it is. I told my kids growing up, one lie leads to another lie. Don't lie. If you screw up, tell me, or tell your mother. But everybody, if you watch these games, you know what it is? It's a country club. It's a country club where no one wants to rip anybody. Everybody's making $1 million in baseball. It's a fun game. When I started playing, it was this dugout against that dugout. You go to a ball game now in Fenway Park, you see guys hugging each other around the cage, visiting guys. To me, that's the enemy. I'm playing 3 hours, 9 innings to beat your ass. But now it's a fun game. Let's not hurt each other. Let's get paid every 2 weeks and make about, I don't know, $38,000, we'll say, every 2 weeks. It's a fun game. And that's the thing, and I'm not saying that I'm out of baseball and I'm jealous all these guys are making money. But I think it's a game where you gotta And I've told guys when I managed in AAA and I coached in AAA, when you put your uniform on, you look at the other side of that field, that's the enemy. One team's gonna win, one team's gonna lose. I ain't gonna lose tonight. You're gonna lose some games. But I think that has been taken away from baseball. You know why? The almighty dollar bill. The almighty dollar bill. Anybody got any questions want to throw on me?
Terry Francona had a comment, but would you? What about Manny Ramirez retiring?
He's retiring because he got caught again. Let me tell you, you get one mulligan. To me, I played the year where you didn't have that stuff. But they slap these guys in the butt right now and say, don't do it again. If I was the commissioner of baseball, you do it once, you get your ass out. To me, it should be a clean game. But he got caught. You don't want to spend 100 days off the list. It kind of puts Tampa in a bind. Tampa got this guy. Now, what's Tampa going to do? I don't think Manny was going to do much anyhow, to be honest with you. I was never, and I'll be honest with you, I don't lie. I'm going to tell it like it is, guys. I was never much of a Manny Ramirez fan. But you look at his numbers, he had some great years. A great hitter. But when it comes down to, he didn't play a couple of games a few years back. He bailed out on him at the end of the year. To me, that's not right. Any other questions? Barry Bonds should be stripped. Well, the only thing I can tell you about Barry Bonds is a lot of guys on Barry Bonds' team didn't like him. When you play with a guy on your own team you don't like, you tell me. He was a different breed. I remember him when I was at the Pirate organization. He weighed about 165 pounds. About 5 years later, I didn't know who the hell he was. But, any other?
What's your favorite ballpark to be in? Favorite of honors? What's your least favorite? There's a lot, like when you were playing, there's a lot after the stadium.
The nicest ball, I tell you, I played in Wrigley Field. That is a beautiful ballpark, Wrigley Field. I played 3 years in Fenway when I played with the Tigers.
What about the minors?
The minor league ballparks are very, very nice now. They are first class. Years ago, you could buy a minor league team for nothing. Now you got to go to a bank. I mean, some of these minor league teams, like Pawtucket, for instance. Pawtucket draws 600,000 people, 650,000 people. Free parking. That's why a lot of people out where I live in Walpole, Norwood, Dedham, around that area, probably around here too, would rather go to a game in Pawtucket where you don't spend $400, $500 a night, and you don't get home until 1 o'clock in the morning. I hope no one here with the Red Sox, but that's the truth. Ben Mundell, the owner of Pawtucket Red Sox that passed away last year, was the nicest human being you ever want to meet. That's a great takedown, Pawtucket. It really is. Free parking. You can bring a husband, wife, 3 kids. You might spend $40. Fenway, you better lay your credit card out. It's funny. I've been out of baseball now. I'm not a real baseball fan. I don't watch many games on TV, to be honest with you. That's unusual. I don't know. I'd rather watch the History Channel or the Discovery Channel. I don't know. You know what it is? A lot of these guys I played with are announcers, and you got to kill some time talking. And I don't know. I guess I've been in the game too long. And the thing that irks me about baseball, and I probably irks some people in this room, the pitch count. They start talking about the pitch count in the first inning. Now, when I managed, if I saw a pitcher getting his ass kicked, you don't have to tell me about a pitch count. I'll get the guy in the bullpen up. But it's 37 pitches in the 3rd inning. I don't get that. It's something new. I don't know. Any other questions?
Dave Parker. What do you think was better? I know that.
Oh, Clemente was the best player. Clemente, when he died doing what he did, was unfortunate. Helping the earthquake victims. He died in the deepest waters in the world, right off of Puerto Rico. And that was his last trip he was going to go to. And it's funny, we went down to Puerto Rico to pay respects. And we went down there, there was I bet there was 5,000 people on the shore waiting for this guy to walk out of the water. This guy down Puerto Rico was like the king. He was the first Puerto Rican superstar. But he was probably the best player I ever played with. But anyway, thanks. I just want to wish all the players good luck. And to me, the only thing I can tell you is play hard, have fun. And if you don't have fun, you don't want to play hard, don't play. Because I told guys, when I managed the minor leagues, especially in AAA, you're one step from the big leagues. If you can't see the writing on the wall, look at the want ads. There's a lot of jobs in the want ads. And think about the people that go to watch you guys play. Because let me tell you, when they see a screw up, or someone not running the ball out, or someone doing this or someone doing that, they notice. I always said when I play baseball, I want to play in front of some guy. Is the first game he's ever seen that he won't forget. He's at number 20. He played pretty good tonight. Don't forget that. Thank you. One other thing, I got 2 World Series rings. If anybody wants to see them, 1971 ring and a 1993. Does anybody remember when Mitch Williams gave that home run up to Joe Carter? Yes. That's the other ring I have. But if anybody wants to see it afterwards, you don't have to kiss it. I'm not the card, Bishop.